Okay, so you know how you sent over that transcript? The one from the English Leap podcast?
Yeah.
All about self-discipline. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, at first I was thinking English learning isn't really my thing, but
Right.
when you actually like look at it and you kind of take away all the stuff about language, what you're left with is actually like a really good blueprint for any goal where you need to stick with it.
Totally. And that's kind of the cool thing here, right?
Yeah.
It's this universal thing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you want to learn Italian or run a marathon or finally write that Mausel you've been thinking about. All of those things require self-discipline.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fundamentals are shockingly similar.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a deep dive into this transcript.
Okay.
And I think it'll be super useful for you.
Yeah.
Because we're going to extract all the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the practical stuff.
The actionable stuff.
That you can use.
Yeah.
And really understand how to, you know, get better at this whole self-discipline thing.
Totally.
Whatever you're working on.
I think this is a really good starting point, too. Because one of the first things they talk about in this podcast is like, if you look at people who achieve things. What is the one thing that really makes the difference?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is the single thing that makes or breaks success?
Yeah.
And you know what they land on?
Self-discipline.
Self-discipline makes sense, right?
Yeah. It's so true, though. I mean,
true.
Because we've all been there. Like, we have the goal.
100%.
But then life gets in the way, or we just don't feel like it.
Yep.
Even the hosts of that podcast were talking about, you know, their own struggles. Yeah.
Slipping up a little bit. And, you know, it's funny because they were talking about, like, that classic I'll start tomorrow thing.
Yeah.
And we've all said that, right?
We all do it.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of important to remember because it means that this is like a shared human experience.
Yeah.
It's not like these people are superhuman robots who just never slip up.
Right.
This is all about like understanding that we all have those moments.
Yeah.
And like figuring out what are the strategies to kind of deal with that when you don't feel like it.
Exactly.
When you want to give in.
So what were some of those strategies?
Well, the first one they talked about was starting small.
Okay.
With tiny habits.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this is huge.
That's so important.
Because it's so easy to get overwhelmed.
Oh my God, yes.
When you think about the big goal.
Yes.
You know, like I'm going to work out every day for an hour.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God.
You just shut down.
It feels impossible.
It's too much.
You just want to quit before you even start.
Right.
But if you start tiny.
Yeah.
The psychology of it is so interesting. Because when you have this big goal.
Yeah.
Your brain basically sees it as a threat.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it like freaks out and tries to stop you.
So
if you scale it down
right.
to something super small, like 5 minutes of exercise, your brain's like, okay, I can do that.
That's okay. That's fine.
That's manageable.
Yeah, totally manageable.
Oh.
And it's easy to say yes to. Yes, and you know what they said?
Where's that?
Is that those little things, they snowball?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They really add up. They use the example of 5 minutes of English practice every day, like reading a page, listening to a short audio clip, you know, learning a new word.
Totally.
You're not doing that much.
Yeah.
But over time,
it
really builds up.
You know, this is like a classic example of that compounding effect.
Yeah.
Remember James Clear?
Yeah.
Atomic Habits? He talks about this all the time.
Right.
You know, making it so small that you can't say no.
Oh, small, you can't refuse.
I love that.
Yeah, that's such a good way to think about it.
It just like eliminates that initial resistance.
Yeah. Okay, so then what was the next one?
Okay, so the next big thing they talked about was systems.
Okay.
Not just goals.
Okay, this is interesting because I think we get so focused on the outcome.
Totally. We get fixated on like, where do I want to be?
Yeah.
And we forget about the how.
Right.
You know, the process. And I had a really good analogy.
Okay.
So wanting to lose weight is the goal.
Okay.
But the system is the actual daily actions.
Right.
Like going for a 20-minute walk or packing a healthy lunch.
Right.
That's the system.
So it's like, how do I actually get there?
Exactly.
Okay, so for me, that would be like, if I want to write more, I need to have a system of like, okay, I'm going to get up 15 minutes earlier and just jot down ideas.
That's a great system.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this is when you focus on the system, the outcome kind of takes care of itself.
Oh, that's good.
You know, it's like you're not so worried about like the end goal.
Right.
You're just focused on doing the thing every day.
Yeah.
And as that becomes more of a habit, it requires less and less energy.
Oh, that's good because you're not using so much willpower.
Exactly. You free up all this mental bandwidth.
Okay, I like that.
To focus on other things.
So that was systems.
That was systems.
Okay, what was next?
Okay, so number 3, this one's kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's making habits attractive.
Make habits attractive.
Yeah.
It sounds a little
weird.
like I'm tricking myself or something.
I know it does sound a little manipulative.
Yeah.
But it's actually super smart.
Okay.
Because it's all about like using your brain's reward system to your advantage.
Okay, how do you do that?
Well, the idea is that we're way more likely to repeat things that we enjoy.
Right.
Or that make us feel good.
Yeah.
So like they talked about making exercise more fun by listening to music or watching TV while you stretch.
Oh, okay. So I'm pairing it with something I actually want to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can apply this to anything.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like if you're trying to work on a project, maybe you give yourself a little treat after you finish a certain amount.
Okay, I like that.
Or if you're studying, maybe you do something relaxing after you finish a chapter.
Okay.
It's about creating that positive association in your mind.
So it's like training your brain to actually enjoy it.
Exactly. And there's a really cool scientific reason why this works.
Okay.
So when you reward yourself after doing something good, your brain releases dopamine, which is this neurotransmitter that's linked to pleasure and motivation.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it strengthens the connection.
So then you want to do it again.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So by making the habit attractive, you're basically making it easier for your brain to get on board.
I like that.
And to actually want to do it.
So what's this next?
Okay, so this one is super relatable.
Okay.
It's about designing your environment for success.
Okay.
And this one is huge because, like, I know for me, my surroundings have a big impact.
On whether you get things done.
Yeah, like if my desk is cluttered and there's snacks everywhere, it's way harder to focus.
Right.
And they actually talk about this in the podcast.
Really?
Yeah, they were talking about how, like, having a messy workspace and easy access to junk food was like sabotaging their efforts.
Right, because you're constantly being tempted.
Exactly.
Right.
So they had some really simple strategies.
Okay.
So like keeping your workout clothes visible as a reminder or moving the unhealthy snacks.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making the good choices easy.
Yeah.
And the bad choices a little bit harder.
I like that.
So if you want to read more, keep a book by your bed.
Okay.
If you're trying to eat healthy, make sure your fridge is stocked with healthy stuff.
Okay, so it's like setting yourself up for success.
Totally. It's about reducing the friction
and
maximizing the cues for the behaviors that you want.
And they were even saying, like, the people you surround yourself with
that's another big one.
Can make a big difference.
Yeah, your social environment is super important.
Totally.
Okay, so moving on.
Okay.
Number 5 was about managing your willpower and energy.
Okay.
And this one is interesting because they were basically saying that willpower isn't unlimited.
Okay.
It's like a muscle.
It's tired.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so true.
So they were saying, like, you know how at the end of the day, you have 0 willpower left.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it's like so easy to just like watch Netflix or scroll on your phone.
And eat all the snacks.
Yeah, it's
like all the things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But you can't stop yourself.
You just feel so drained.
Yeah, it's because you used up all your willpower earlier.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So their advice was to prioritize your important tasks for when you have the most energy.
Oh, okay. So like in the morning.
Yeah, usually earlier in the day.
Right.
When you're fresh.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So like they were talking about using your peak energy times for language story.
Right.
But it applies to everything.
Yeah.
Like if you have a really difficult task, do it first thing in the morning.
When you're at your best.
Exactly.
Okay, so then what was the next one?
All right, so the next one was number 6.
Okay.
And it was about automating decisions.
Automating decisions?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that even mean?
It sounds kind of technical, but it's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
It just means reducing the number of choices you have to make every day.
Oh, okay.
So you can save your mental energy.
I like that.
For the important stuff.
Okay, so how do I actually do that?
Well, think about like setting up a schedule for your work or meal prepping your lunches for the week.
Okay.
Or even laying out your clothes the night before.
Oh, yeah.
These are all ways to automate decisions.
You don't have to think about it.
Exactly. You're basically putting yourself on autopilot.
I like that. And it frees up space in your brain.
Exactly.
You can think about other things.
Totally.
Okay, so then what was the last one?
Okay, so the last one was all about accountability.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I find it so helpful.
It's so powerful.
Because it's like when you know someone else is aware of your goal, it kind of makes you want to actually do it.
It gives you that extra push.
Yeah.
And they talked about this in the podcast too.
Really?
And, yeah, they were using the example of having a workout buddy.
Okay.
Or someone who checks in on you to make sure you're actually exercising.
So it's like you don't want to let them down.
Exactly. It creates a sense of obligation.
Yeah. And they were also saying like for language learning, you know, finding a language partner, joining a study group, new idea.
It's about having someone in your corner.
Right.
who can support you and keep you on track.
And they're not judging you.
Exactly. It's not about judgment.
Yeah, it's like they're just there to help.
It's about support and encouragement.
So, okay, let's go over all of them one more time.
Okay, sounds good.
So they were...
Number 1 was...
starting small.
With tiny habits.
Yes.
Number 2 was...
focus on systems.
Not just goals.
Exactly.
Number 3 was...
making habits attractive.
to make your brain happy.
Yes.
Number 4...
design your environment.
for success.
Yep.
Number 5...
manage your willpower.
and your energy levels.
Right, because they're not unlimited.
Exactly.
Okay.
Number 6...
automate decisions.
free up mental space.
Yes. And final, number 7...
leverage accountability.
by telling someone your goals.
And having them support you.
Exactly.
I think that's a really good overview. And what's really cool about this is even though they were talking about language learning, this stuff applies to anything.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway too.
It's about building self-discipline in any area of your life.
No matter what you're working on.
Exactly.
So as you're listening to this, think about it. What's one tiny habit?
Okay.
So small you can't refuse.
I love that.
That you can implement today.
Yeah.
To start moving towards your goals?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And what's one little thing you can change in your environment right now?
Yes.
To make it easier.
To make it easier to stay on track.
Exactly.
So you're not being tempted.
And just remember, building self-discipline is a process. It's like a muscle. You have to train it.
Right.
So be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And just keep experimenting with these strategies.
Until you find what works for you.
You got this.
Okay, that was awesome.
That was fun.
I loved this deep dive.
Me too.
Okay, until next time.
See ya.